Hey, good afternoon, everybody. You are listening to 4 Deep Sports Talk Show here on the news station 1320 AM WARA and online, all one word, 4deepsportstalk.com. I am Lucy Cabral. Dominic Damiano is on assignment, so we have Catherine Conley, aka KC, on the boards, Sportsmaster Justin, and our new broadcasting intern Joe. He is in studio, as well as special guest today. We have the new Whitman-Hanson head football coach, Zachary Vitello. So welcome, Zach.
Hi, thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
Very exciting. This is great. Kids have all their questions lined up. So take it away.
All right.
Okay, I will go first then. So I was looking through your Twitter, and I noticed that you have a Lifter of the Week award. I've noticed that be more and more common as more and more coaches basically come into the system. And I wanted to ask you, how do you think awards like that, recognizing players' hard work, affects their morale on the field, like even in practice and playing?
Yeah, I think kind of looking at my whole coaching philosophy, and as a step back and get too deep about it, but really I think as a teacher, as a coach, I want to catch kids doing the right thing more than I catch them doing the wrong thing. I think building kids' confidence up, recognizing kids that do it right, not only does it benefit the students who are getting the award for what they did personally, but it's exemplifying to the team as a whole. Hey, when you do it right, you get something, right? When you do the right things, it's not just, well, that was the expectation and we move on. It's, hey, that's awesome. You did it right. Like, shout out to you. Like, let's keep doing it. Let's build on that. Because I think the positive has much more of an impact on your program than the negative.
No, for sure. I think that's good, like a good mindset to have for sure. I think kids getting recognized for what they're doing makes them want to work for it a lot more and a lot harder. So that's a really good way to run your program for sure.
Thank you. It's been the kids have loved it so far. So they love the little power bars. I don't know why, but they get excited for protein.
Yeah, we got a phone call coming up real quick.
A phone call already?
Yep.
Wow, that's awesome.
Yeah, dang.
You know what? It's probably Dom.
Hey, you're first on 4 Deep Sports Talk. Who am I speaking with?
Hey, Catherine, it's Dominic.
Hey, Dom!
Called it.
What's going
What did I
on?
tell you?
Oh, I wanted to say hello to Zach. Zach, thanks for coming on today. I'm sorry I'm not there.
No worries. Sounds like you're somewhere much more beautiful than here right now.
It is. It's really humid. Remember those last 2 weeks we had back home? That's exactly what it is like right now. But they just had a cold front cell thunderstorm come through, so our 8:30 games to start the second day of pool play has been pushed back. I mean, they're looking to start the 8:30 game now around maybe 1:30. They had two thunderstorm cells come through.
Oh, wow.
And we're just on a delay waiting. So I'm with the rest of the crew. We had a crew guys of 6 guys from around the country.
Wow.
And we're just at lunch. We're just waiting to see when they want us to go back to the field and get it ready. And I can report good news that Dover, New Hampshire, who's representing New England, they won 8-2 last night. And they beat the Hawaii team. So they're undefeated right now in pool play. And I think I gave Joe the standings of who's in and who represent what part of that country and the scores from last night. And I'll let you guys go. It's good to hear everybody's voice.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's
nice
good to hear you
From
too,
you
Dom.
too.
Thanks,
Enjoy.
All right, take care, guys.
All right, that was Dominic Damiano, and we want to continue on with the questions.
Yeah, Justin, you want
Sure. I'll go for next. All right. So I read about you, and I'm curious to know, why do you use multiple teaching styles to coach football?
Great question. So I'm a teacher by trade. It's my day job. I'm a special education teacher. Previously I worked in New Bedford Public Schools, and I was at Middleborough the last 3 years. And I'll be at Whitman-Hanson in the fall. So I'll be teaching and coaching in the same building. And I really believe that teaching is coaching and coaching is teaching. And in the classroom, I would never teach kids with different learning styles the same way, right? Like if you're better working with your hands and Joe's better watching the video and listening to the audio, I wouldn't ask you guys to do the same thing the same way. I would make sure you could get the information the best way for your learning style. And it's the same thing on the field. I believe that not every kid's going to learn it the way that I learned it, the way that the assistant coaches learn it, the way that some of the other players learned it. So I want to teach kids in the classroom on the whiteboard, putting together a PowerPoint, putting together a huddle playlist, walking through it, talking through it, running through it, watching film on it, to make sure that learning is really happens initially, and then also a deeper understanding occurs, right? Because then when you're on the field, it's not like you're like lining up struggling to remember, oh man, what do I do on this, what do I do on this? It's, I know exactly what I do, and now I can look at the defense and how they're aligned, or listen to the coach from the sideline and making an adjustment. It creates a deeper understanding and allows more kids to know what they're supposed to be doing, which hopefully will lead to some success this fall for us.
Yeah, no, that's smart for sure, because every kid doesn't learn the same exact way, so that's the best way to go about coaching anything. I feel like not even just football, even in the classes you mentioned, it kind of goes hand in hand together, where you need to have different styles for each type of person. So
Yeah.
that's very good for sure.
Selfishly, it mixes up practice too. It's not the same thing every single day. I get to, mix and match what we're doing and do some new things, so it keeps it exciting for the coaches too.
So tell us a little bit about your career so far. You started in New Bedford, really?
Yeah, so a little before that, actually, I graduated college and I worked in Ashland Public Schools for a couple of years as a paraprofessional.
Yeah.
And I started my master's degree, and I was coaching in Ashland at the time. I was coaching in college, and then into those first 2 years. And then my first full-time teaching position came in New Bedford. So my wife and I moved down there. She worked at the high school. I worked at one of the middle schools.
Oh, so your wife's a teacher also?
Yep, she's a teacher by trade too. She's
Wow.
actually at one of our rival schools now, Whitman Hanson. She's at Silver Lake. But,
Oh, that's ironic.
I know. We don't play them till October though, so I got some time for her
that's
to cheer for
great.
me.
Oh, wow.
But yeah, we worked in New Bedford for a year and absolutely loved it. I coached wrestling there for a few years as well, and working
Wow.
with those kids on the mat in the winter. It was a great experience. And then her and I moved again, and we ended up in Middleborough, and there was a position at the high school teaching. So I taught there for 3 years, and I was coaching right down the road from our house at Old Colony Volk. That's where I did football for 4 years as well.
Oh, wow.
So kind of been a few different places all over teaching and coaching, but I've just learned a bunch at all those places and getting to meet different kids and different families and different coaches and administrators. It's been a great experience.
So your teaching career, you teach
Special education.
special ed.
Yes.
That's awesome. That is awesome. So your style of being head football coach and all through your career has really helped the kids, not only with playing the sport, but social skills as well, and just getting them out there. I mean, that's fabulous.
Yeah, I really believe to be a successful coach, if you can develop great people, great students, great players in that order, you can be pretty successful. Because I think high school sports are great, and if you can win a bunch, that's awesome. I'd love to do that, and we're going to do that at Whitman Hanson in the near future. But if people are graduating and they don't know where they're going or how to act or how to be a part of a community, you kind of miss an opportunity as an educator. So I think if we can knock that out first, get them academically eligible with opportunities for whatever they want to do next, whether it's college, military work, all that stuff, then the football kind of takes care of itself because you got a lot less to worry about off the field.
For
and
sure.
you can get those kids kind of working towards a common goal, which is hopefully what we can make happen over there.
So how is the transition going to work here, going with Whitman Hanson now?
So very lucky to be starting it this year and not last year, because I can't imagine. I know a couple of guys in our league I've talked to got hired and then everything got shut down for a year. So they met their kids via Zoom and the weight room was off limits, and you just show up in February and you're like, all right, let's do this. So I'm very thankful that when I got hired at the end of May, restrictions have been lifted, and we were able to do some things in person to start. And then in the summer, the school's wide open. The school committee approved that, which has been hugely helpful because we have the weight room open. So the kids are there 3 days a week working with me in the weight room. We had a summer passing league, which I was able to watch. We had a couple of alum come coach that. So really just the transition has been based on building relationships with the kids and their families and getting to know them and the community. And I grew up nearby in Middleborough, so I have an idea of Whitman and Hanson and their history and what it's all about over there, but really trying to immerse myself in that. And then, meeting people in the school. I do a little walkthrough after lifting because they have some summer programming, and try to meet the teachers and the nurses and all that, and really just put names to faces and put my face out there. And everyone has been so welcoming and so just supportive, and not with like an agenda or with I want to help you, but I want to be able to do this. It's just, what can we do? What do you need? We want these kids to have the best experience, so what can we do to help? So it's definitely the right place to be.
Definitely, the support is there. I understand the previous head coach retired.
Yes.
So you're kind of carrying on a legacy here,
Yes.
or changing things up. So this is good. Change is good,
It
right?
is. And Coach Driscoll has been a huge help in my
Sure.
transition. I actually hung with him for about an hour yesterday, and he's the operations manager for the district. So he's hooking me up with keys and getting me, the first dibs on lining practice fields and all that stuff. So he's been a huge supporter and answered all my questions and gave me a tour of the campus and the facilities and walked me through all the stuff we have. So what a huge asset to have him right in the building, and the kids love him, and he's been, he knows a lot of the assistants that I'll have on staff, and it's a good situation to walk into for
That's
sure.
great. Good luck. That's awesome.
Yeah,
Sounds
thank
like
you.
so exciting. So exciting. All right, you guys?
Okay. Yeah. So you brought up how you did wrestling and you coach baseball as well, right?
Yes.
So yeah, I wanted to ask you how having that wide array of a gallery basically of coaching experiences changed your approach to coaching as football.
So it definitely I really believe students should participate in as many sports as they can, because I think, one, you only get to be a kid once. So go do those things. Go wrestle, go swim, go play tennis, whatever interests you, go do it, because you're going to end up 28 years old with a full-time job and a family, and you can't just pack it up and go play basketball for 3 months. So enjoy those things first of all, but also the way the different skills and the coaching and the competitiveness of playing other sports translates to the football field. I really don't think you can simulate that in the weight room or in positional specific training. I think competing with kids from your hometown on the basketball court, on the tennis court, on the field, on the track, you can't make that up. And getting kids to compete at that level, I think, helps them compete on the football field. So to kind of practice what I preach, I think coaching in different areas is a huge step up for me to model what I'm hoping for my players and also learn. I was a very experienced football coach. I knew a lot about the game and the techniques and the scheming and things like that. Wrestling, I was not an experienced wrestler. I wrestled for 1 year in high school, my senior year. I loved it, got a lot out of it, but that was kind of it. And when the opportunity to assist in Ashland came up, I jumped at it because I, one, was learning the sport alongside a lot of kids who had never done it before, and two, kind of having to really pay attention to the coaching points, pay attention to the little minutia that I maybe was looking past in football, helped me really slow down and break things down for kids walking into football who had no idea what they were walking into. So really kind of from a base level approach, work our way up, fundamentals first, and just seeing kids compete in different areas. It's been awesome, and I look forward to continuing to do that at Whitman Hanson.
Yeah, no, I've heard many coaches talk about multi-sport athletes is good for like every athlete playing football, but I've never actually seen a coach try multiple sports themselves like you have. That's really good that you're actually doing the practice what you preach thing. A lot of coaches don't do that.
Yeah, no, I get a lot from that, and I want to keep it going as long as my wife allows me, for sure.
Yeah, so we're gonna take our first break. You're listening to 1320 AM WARA 40 Sports Talk. We are here with new Whitman Hanson football coach Zach Botello. We'll be back with more with him right after these messages. Hey everyone, welcome back to the show. You are listening to 4 Deep Sports Talk here at 1320 AM WARA. We are here with the new head coach of Whitman Hanson football, Zach Botello. So Zach, I wanted to ask you, like I've read in the article that you're known as snapping playoff droughts. So do you think you'll continue that with Whitman Hanson?
Yeah, so I'm lucky that the program's a little more established at Whitman Hanson than the last two programs I kind of became a part of. They've traditionally were powerhouse Super Bowls, league championships up and down, and even throughout Coach Driscoll's tenure, they were incredibly competitive, all kinds of playoff appearances. So the past 2 years a little bit down record-wise, but not indicative of the school itself, but the league that they're in the Patriot League with Marshfield and Duxbury and Scituate and so many talented schools. So definitely hoping to snap some championship droughts for sure. It's been a while since they put a banner up in the gym, and I know the kids are real excited to get back on that track. And a lot of them have parents who played in the 90s who were a part of a lot of those teams, which is pretty exciting to meet those guys and see how much they want the program to be back at that level. And we're definitely going to work to get it there every single day.
Wow.
Yeah, no, I noticed that playoff drought thing too. That's really impressive. Last 3 coaching staffs you've been on, you've snapped a 20-plus year playoff drought. That's insane to me.
Yeah, I'm very lucky to coach with some great guys who made that happen, and some awesome kids who really bought into something that wasn't quite real yet. You start and my first couple years in Ashland, losing record, no playoff appearances. Last banner they got raised was before all the kids were born. It's not real, and they still bought in, and they still lifted and played other sports and were there at practice and watching film and doing all the things they were supposed to do, even though they didn't know what it was going to lead them to. And to get that league title, to get that Thanksgiving win, it meant, I feel like, so much more to that group of kids because it was new and it was exciting. And at Ashland, it just raised the floor of what their program was, and they went on and won a Super Bowl and sectional titles. And Coach McKay's killing it up there, which is awesome. And at Old Colony, came in a year where Coach Mendes had been there for a couple, and he kind of got it rolling. And then my first year there, school record in wins and all kinds of group from a team that was picked to finish towards the bottom in the league because we had graduated so many the year before. But same thing, just kids buying into something that maybe isn't quite real, but trusting their coaches, trusting their teammates, and I mean, those kind of things take you a lot further than any trophy, but the trophy sure is nice.
Yeah.
Coaches always say trust the process. All those kids seem like they actually did trust the process, and now they get to reap the benefits from it. That's really cool to see.
And it's awesome to see it turn out that way. I mean, it's in sports, it's so tough to be able to say if you do X, Y, and Z, you're going to get here because you can't really control it at the end of the day. But to see them do X, Y, and Z, and we've had some teams that didn't maybe reach that pinnacle that they wanted to, but we're still incredibly proud at the end of the day because they knew they put it all out there, they hit the best they can, and we ran into a buzzsaw. Like my last year in Ashland, we played a Millis team that went on to win a Super Bowl and undefeated, and they beat us in the league title, but we still finished 8-3 and best record in years, and won on Thanksgiving for the first time in 12 years. And were they bummed they didn't get a banner? Sure, but they weren't upset at the outcome of the season, even though they didn't maybe hit that result they wanted. So really buying into a little bit better every day, and it's going to turn out the way it's supposed to turn out.
No, exactly. That's a perfect way to go about it for sure for coaching because you can't do it all at once. It has to be slow progression. Each day it goes up more and more.
Yeah.
So that's the best way. Yeah, no, I noticed earlier when we were talking about Mike Driscoll, I meant to bring up he was actually the first ever interview I did on 40 Sports Talk.
Oh, really?
So I wanted to pose you the same question that I gave him. And what I asked him was I brought up the fact of how many players say that they learned a lesson valuable from their coaches in high school. So I want to ask you, what have your players taught you personally, you think?
Oh, wow. Way more than I've taught them, I'd have to imagine. Just in terms of really appreciating what it is I get to do every single day. I know in the field of education and the field of coaching, there are some people who are just burnt out and maybe don't look at it with the lens maybe they used to, but seeing those little wins, those little successes, the sophomore who hits 135 on the bench for the first time and he's so excited, like you'd think he won a Super Bowl, and like seeing that genuine joy, that genuine excitement, that genuine like coming up to you after practice, thank you for being here, or at the end of the year I got a couple cards in Middleborough from students thanking me for the experience, and just knowing that every day I get to wake up and work with kids and impact lives. And I mean, you can't find a better job. And learning that sense of gratitude, that sense of appreciation that, you know, there are awesome people out there and awesome people that want to get better and learn and grow, and that I get to be a part of it. And I couldn't ask for better kids to work with.
Yeah, no, that's good for sure. That's nice. I think you brought up earlier how you were saying that if you had started last year, you wouldn't have been able to make such a strong connection with your team. I think having this year with no COVID as much really let you have that connection with the team that you're talking about, like where you guys aren't just faces behind masks, you're actual people, like with minds and lives and stuff.
Oh yeah, I'm so relationship focused in my teaching and coaching, just because that's the best part. I mean, English is cool, but I mean, if I was just reading a book every day, I wouldn't be a teacher.
Yeah.
I want to go and talk to the kids and, you know, get to know them and their families and what makes them, what's interesting to them, and give them a hard time when they're, you know, listening to some music that I think is silly or whatever. That stuff I think is the best, and getting to build that before the season and into the season makes it just that much better to be out there in a new role.
You need that interaction. I mean, you know, the support, the interaction, everything. You know, you have to get those kids to buy into, you know, what you're teaching them. So focus. There's a lot of stuff happening there. You know.
Yeah, and I mean, I'm getting up there. I'm not as young as I think I am. And looking back on my time and the adults I got to work with and those experiences, I don't remember any of my high school football plays. I couldn't tell you. But I could tell you all kinds of interactions with coaches and players and teachers that I still look back on fondly to this day. And knowing those relationships are there and those moments, those memories, way more important than anything you could teach them in a textbook or on a playbook, for sure.
Yeah, no, I think a coach actually putting in the effort to make a strong relationship with one of the players is really appreciated a lot more than wins, honestly. That probably makes them a lot happier after high school than if they had won a Super Bowl or something like that.
Oh yeah, long term. Maybe not the day after.
Yeah, maybe not right after. Yeah.
Long term, 100%.
Justin, you have a question?
Yes, my
Sure.
next question is, what do you look forward to the most as the new Women Hanson High School football coach?
I'm really just excited to have a regular football season, school year. I know regular might be a word that's gone from our vocabulary in this world, but just to have a fall training camp, to have an 11-game season, to have Friday Night Lights, to have Thanksgiving Day football, all the things that I think make Massachusetts high school football so great. I'm so excited to have those back and to be able to do it all together with a new group, with new coaching staff and a new group of players for myself, and seeing a lot of these people kind of in the community want to be like, all right, we're back. Let's do this together. Let's be out there. Very excited for that whole experience and then just to build on it moving forward.
That's great.
And going into this season, like taking on Justin's question, what is your mindset going into it?
Really, I want to focus on absolutely getting better every single day. I think it's all going to be new for a lot of us, and we kind of have to figure out how we work as a coaching staff, how we work as a position group, finding players positions where they can be successful and kind of getting those chess pieces working together. And it might take a little bit longer than we want to at first, but to get people just improving every day, improving our conditioning, improving our mindset, improving our attitude, getting better and building and growing, and then hopefully as we go throughout the season, getting stronger and stronger and stronger into that Thanksgiving game and using that as a springboard for whatever comes next. But I definitely want to have as successful as a season as we can for our seniors who have had a strange high school experience and haven't had a regular year since they were freshmen, which is crazy to think about.
Oh, wow.
So to give them the best experience, to get them on the field and winning games and competing and excited and in the newspaper and all that stuff, that is such a cool thing for them. I want to make sure that this year starts things off right.
Cool. You know, what do you see in your student athletes when you see like their gameplay on the field?
So just the biggest thing that stuck out to me is their commitment and their dedication. Yeah, it would be so easy, I feel like, to say like, man, this year was terrible, it was rough, we have a new coach, we don't even know him. We're just going to have fun this summer. We're going to go to the beach, we're going to do this, we're going to do that.
Nice.
I would get it. But our initial team meeting with the team and the parents and all that stuff, I announced we're going to do summer strength and conditioning. It was going to be Monday, Wednesday, Friday, starting at 7:30 a.m. And in my head, I was like, that might be kind of early for them, like school. Like I don't know if they're going to want to wake up in the summer. But for my schedule, it worked well, and I wanted to do it before it got too hot during the day. And our captain came up to me and he said, "Hey, Coach, can we move the lifting time?" And I was like, "Oh, he's gonna ask to move it to noon or something." And I was like, "All right, yeah. When do you want to move it to?" He's like, 6 a.m. I was like, "You
Wow.
6 a.m.
Whoa.
Well, that's
Really?
too early.
I was like, "Are you
Oh,
guys-"
man.
I said, "Everyone agrees on this? Like, you're not just saying." He's like, "Yeah, everyone agrees on it." And then a bunch of kids came like, "Yeah, you know, I got work or I got vacations or whatever, but I can get there at 6. Like, can we do it at 6? Like, if you guys are gonna show up, like, I'm in. Like, I got nothing going this summer." So first they opened the weight room at 6 a.m. and I was like, "Who's gonna actually do this?"
Right,
thing?
right,
We
right.
had 34 kids in the weight room at 6
What?
a.m. on
That's
Oh, wow.
impressive.
Monday after school got out. So these kids, they want to be there. They want to be successful. They want to be big, fast, strong, and good at football. So the dedication is there. So we just got to build on it from that, which is, I mean, to have that in place, you can't ask for more as a coach.
Absolutely. Sounds like they're already bought in.
Oh, yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah, the fact that he came up to you and asked you to move it earlier, that's insane to me. I thought you were going to say he asked to move it back only half an hour or something.
Nope.
6 a.m.
Nope. When it's still dark out, it's when I get to Whitman Hanson every morning.
Oh.
It's all right with me.
That's awesome. Justin?
Okay, my next question is, growing up, did you ever play football? And if you did so, what position did you play?
So I did play football. I was always I'm a bigger guy, so I was always a little big to play the youth football up until 7th grade. I finally hit that weight threshold they gave you for Pop Warner. So I played 7th through 12th grade, and I absolutely loved it. I loved every minute of it. I like to think I was an average player on a below average team, but we had a lot of fun. We were a tight knit. I'm still in a fantasy football league with all my high school buddies that I played football with, and we didn't win a ton, but we made a lot of good memories. And I was able to play offensive and defensive line. My freshman year, I actually started on the varsity as a freshman, not due to any athletic prowess, but due to my ability to listen and follow directions, which that's what they were looking for, and I was able to do it. And then from there, I kind of played both ways in the lines. Offensive line, I played everywhere, left tackle, center, every position. And defensively, I played a lot of defensive tackle and nose guard.
Wow, so we're going to take our second break. You are listening to WARA 1320 AM. You can call in at 508-222-1320. We are continuing to highlight new Whitman Hanson head coach Zach Botella. We will be right back with more right after these messages.
Welcome back to 40 Sports Talk at WARA 1320 AM radio. Today we're interviewing Whitman Hanson football coach Zachary Botello right now. We are back to the interview right now. We're coming back from our second break. Real quick, we are going to list the scores of the 2021 Cal Ripken 10-year-old World Series hosted by Palm Beach Gardens in Florida. Okay. First off, we have the Central Ozarks versus Eastside, with the Ozarks winning 5-3. Next up, we had Dover versus Key West, with Dover taking the victory with a score of 8-2. After that, we have Southeastern KY taking over Williamsburg by a score of 11-2. And then after them, we have Marlboro overtaking Vincennes by 13-6. And then Justin has 4 more scores.
And we have Jacksonville Beach versus Honolulu, which Jacksonville Beach won 3-0. And Cherry Hill versus Palm Beach Gardens, and Cherry Hill won 2-0. And Los Altos versus Eagle Lake 12-7. Oh yeah, I accidentally yeah. And then Pennsbury versus Willamette Valley 9-5. Pennsbury.
There you go, Justin. And then that Cal Ripken League still has a few more games to be played. Continuing over the next 2 days, we will continue to report the scores and report the victor next week on WARA 1320 AM radio.
Excellent. Great job, guys. Great job. And now back to Zach.
Yep, back to the interview.
Okay, so I was talking earlier, and you said that you used to coach JV, but this will be your first ever varsity head coaching spot, right?
Yes.
So I wanted to ask so far, what have you noticed the differences between coaching junior varsity and varsity has been in high school?
The biggest difference thus far is the paperwork and the administrative stuff. All the stuff that was always taken care of for me as an assistant coach and a JV coach comes across my desk, which is great because I can ensure things get done on time and kind of do things my way. I can tend to be a little, I like things a certain way, organized a certain way, so it's helpful in that regard. But really, I mean, the football, the coaching, the relationships, all that stuff hasn't changed all that much. And I was lucky to work with some head coaches who really pushed some stuff over my way that helped prepare me for things like this, especially Coach Mendes over at OC. He gave me a lot of opportunities to run some things and call some shots and attend some meetings and things like that. That put me in a position to have a better idea of what was coming my way. So really it's the off-the-field stuff more than anything right now.
Was it like a big adjustment to you, like when you have your things your own way, now that this is your first head coaching stint?
Yeah, it's things have just kind of started a little sooner. I find myself the past few weeks already ramping things up, practice schedules and offensive install schedules and getting stuff out to families and parents and schedules and doing that, do you have your physical, do you have your, registration form, user fee, all that stuff. That typically I just listen to the roll call beforehand. I'm kind of running the show on that now. So really just football's kicked off a little sooner for me with all those things. And I want to hopefully get all that stuff done. So when it's August 20th and we're practicing, I can just do the football thing as much as possible and not have to worry so much about that stuff.
Yeah. Who would you say would be your biggest motivation?
My biggest motivation is really, honestly, my family, my wife and my daughter, Nora. I'm so lucky to have found someone who's a teacher and passionate about the same things as me and a wife, and she really pushes me to be better and checks me when I'm wrong pretty frequently, which is, I'm glad I have her on that. And I wouldn't be the educator, coach person I am without her. And then my daughter, just seeing her get to meet the kids and have these, I had so many coaches I coached with that had their kids around the program. The wrestling coach in New Bedford, Steve Sentes, his son was at practice every day. His daughter would come by when she, wasn't too cool for school, and his little one would be like running on the mats during tournaments because he was fearless. But seeing them always around and seeing them, sitting with the wrestlers in between matches, and the wrestlers would come to their birthday parties, and having those built-in role models for your kid. I mean, what an awesome opportunity to really show them, because they don't want to hear it from me. I mean, she's 14 months now. She still thinks I'm pretty cool. But in a few years, she probably won't think I'm so cool. And to have players like that she can look up to and see them doing the right thing and have cool kids running around that she can kind of get to know, what an awesome opportunity for my family to really be a part of the program. So that's my wife was the reason I applied for the job. She was like, you got to do this. This is perfect with the posting and the way it was set up and what she knew of Whitman Hanson. She's like, you got to go. This is going to be for you. So she's always making me better, and I try to be better every day for my daughter as well. Really, it's all for them.
Yeah, I wanted to make a comment. I could probably relate to how those kids are feeling. The reason how I got into sports is because my brother Patrick, because he actually played soccer for a soccer team. I forget if it was youth sports, and I would always want to be a part of the huddle, and that's how I got into sports.
Yeah, it's cool to see someone you look up to that's a cool kid, not your parent, not a grandparent,
Right.
not someone who's telling you what to do, but just a cool kid that you want to be like doing something like that. And I want her to have people like that in her life as much as we can.
Yeah.
So inspiring.
Yeah. when you're talking about how the biggest change has been like saying the roster out loud and taking attendance, all I could think of, the defensive coordinator Robert Saleh for the 49ers.
Yeah.
When he took the Jets head coaching job, he said that he stood behind the assistant coaches like on his knees,
Yeah,
waiting
yeah.
for them to call the players' names and realize he was the person who was supposed to be.
I know I'm gonna have some moments like that when they look over to accept or decline a penalty. I'm gonna be like, who's someone pick.
Oh boy.
I am very lucky though. One of my assistant coaches, Randy Grimmett, he's a former football head coach and a current track head coach, and he has been since day one, been guiding me through this stuff. And I text him probably more than I should over the summer about things that I need, and it's been great to have him on staff. And he's an alum of the school, so he knows the lay of the land. He's an awesome guy to have on staff, and he's going to be a huge help with things like that.
So who are your new coaches that are going to be working with you in the fall?
Yeah, so first and foremost, Coach John Rosen and Coach Dan Moriarty were the freshman coaches for the past however many years, and they are staying on, and they're going to keep the freshman program rolling. And every sophomore I've talked to has said the best part about football is Coach Rosen and Coach Mo. So I couldn't be more excited to have them and their experience. They're both chemistry, both science teachers in the high school, so I'll get to work with them and coach with them, and they have been hugely helpful and supportive. And then Coach Hank Moylan is coming back from the previous staff. He's going to stay on with us. He's an alum. We actually played against each other in high school, which is pretty cool. So he's staying on with us. And then Coach Kevin Meehan, he's been an assistant wrestling coach at the school for a number of years. He also played football, and he has an expertise in weightlifting. He's a personal trainer. So he's going to help us out. And then Coach Grimmett, who I already mentioned, Coach Chris Jones just got hired at Whitman Middle School. So he's going to come on up. He's moving into Massachusetts from Colorado. So
Wow.
he's
wow.
really got a lot to learn in terms of where we're at.
Yeah.
But he's an awesome guy, going to be an awesome coach for us. And then Coach Gio Hippolyte played at Brockton High School, played at Framingham State. He's run a bunch of youth leagues. He's coached at the high school level at Roxbury Prep, and he's going to come over and join us. He's a mentor in the Brockton Public Schools. So
Nice.
really trying to get a diverse group of guys, some younger, some older, experienced, not experienced, and really focusing on people who are teachers of the game. It doesn't have to be that you're a teacher by trade, but someone who is focused on, let's teach these kids the right things, the right plays, and do it in a way that works for everyone. So I'm very excited. They've been great to work with. They've been invested and met the kids and been at passing leagues and been at coaches meetings, and they're as excited as I am to get started with this group. So I'm very excited for them.
That's great. Big shout out to them. Boy.
Yes.
Oh, yeah. That pretty much answers my question. That was my last question. So basically my last question is, who's your favorite professional athlete and why?
Favorite professional athletes?
It can be from any kind of league.
I would have to say I tend to lean to the coaching side of stuff. I love Bill Belichick. I absolutely his biography. My wife thinks it's so crazy. I couldn't put it down. Like I was, she's reading, mystery novels and romance novels, and I'm reading a 600-page book about a guy who doesn't talk. But I just the sustained success that he's had at the hardest level, where you can get fired for losing 3 games in a row, and he's been able to do it not as successfully without Tom Brady, but still keep those guys motivated, and his scheme stuff and his culture building stuff is just I think a reason I love football so much is growing up in New England when he was the coach, because talking to my dad, football was an afterthought when he grew up. It was Celtics, Red Sox, and then maybe the Bruins, depending on the year. And to have football be such a big part of the sports landscape growing up I think he had a huge impact on me getting involved in this great game.
Cool.
Yeah, no, I think the early Patriots for sure affected a lot of people in New England. I'm pretty sure the amount of people named Brady in Massachusetts like skyrocketed like 500% or something during that time.
Dogs too, lots of dogs.
Yeah. Okay, I actually do have a question I'm realizing. So I noticed that you guys are going to be playing Hanover on September 10th, right?
Yes.
I wanted to ask what if you could give any insight into the preparation that comes with preparing for like your first game with a new team as the head coach.
So really, I've always had the mindset going into every game, but especially the first couple of games, we have to do what we do well.
Yeah.
We have to know our base offensive assignments and alignments. We have to know our base defensive assignments and alignments and get so comfortable with those that when they come out in something that we haven't seen, because we might not have any film on them, or maybe we'll have one scrimmage with 20 plays on it, we have to be able to know what we do so we can play our game brand of football. And I think definitely planning with our coaching staff now, kind of distributing roles so we all have a little piece in it, so we're all on the same page, and really instilling in the kids that we're going to have a couple answers for what they do, and then we're going to do what we do really, really well. And hopefully they have to respond to us more than we have to respond to them. But if we have a confidence in what we do, then hopefully we can get in there and be pretty successful. As the season goes on and there's more film available and we're able to talk to coaches and people that have seen them, then we could have a more detailed game plan, a more intensive, hey, I know this specific coverage is a good one to throw in this week because of what they do, or this offensive package, we want to practice it a little bit more this week because I know how they're going to line up to it. And kind of win those little chess matches as a coach. But game one is really about you and what you can do and having your kids have the confidence to go out there and get it done.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. So game one, would you say it's more finding an identity instead of like instilling certain play styles for first game?
100%. I think if you can do what you do with confidence more than your opponent, you can be pretty successful. Because I think I've played in first games where we had our tailback go down. My first year at Old Colony, we had our tailback go down. He was incredibly sick with food poisoning and couldn't keep anything down.
Ooh.
And we did a terrible job of preparing the next guy. We didn't do a good job as coaches preparing for an instance like that, and it showed in our play. We weren't successful. We didn't win the game. In a game we probably should have been able to take care of because we didn't prepare correctly. So I think having confidence in what you do and having kids 1 through 60 confident in what you do, not just your 11, 12 starters, is huge because something silly is going to happen. Someone's going to miss an assignment, miss a play, they're going to pop one that you didn't see coming, and you have to be able to respond and be confident and listen, hey, we got this. This is what we do. We know how to do it. Like, we can take care of this.
Yeah, so we gotta take our last break. So you're listening to WARA 1320 AM 40 Sports Talk. We will be right back with Zach Botello, the new Whitman Hanson head football coach.
You know?
Hey everyone, welcome back to 40 Sports Talk here at the news station, 1320 AM WARA. We are continuing our talk with new Whitman-Hanson football coach Zach Botello. And you guys have any more questions?
I have 2 left.
Excellent.
You want to go, Justin? Cool.
Yeah, sure.
There you go.
My next question is, how do you go about building the most effective team?
That's a great question.
Wow.
That's a multi-step answer probably, but I think the biggest thing is kind of developing a mindset where we're really focused on I like to say control the controllables. It's kind of like coach speak, but I think that if you can show up every day with a great attitude and have outstanding effort, 2 things that require no one else's permission, no one else's reaction, 2 things that you do on your own, start there. And then we work on building our relationships and our trust and our communication and our ability to work together as a unit. Because in football, you can have the best athlete in the state playing wide receiver, but if you have a line that's not going to communicate and block and a quarterback that can't get it there, it doesn't matter. You could have anyone. I could be standing out there and you wouldn't be successful. It really does take a whole team. So I think building on what we can control and building what we can do together as a unit, starting there, because I think when you have trust, when you have chemistry, when you have communication, when you have a group of people who are willing to give outstanding effort, to have excellent attitudes, and really put it all out there every day and compete, from there you can start building the football stuff and the schemes and the understanding and the skills and things like that to turn that awesome baseline of like who we are as people into who we are as football players.
That's a great answer.
Yeah.
It's a great question.
Yeah, and my next one's kind of a little bit similar to the last one, but it's how does the coaching staff work together to get the most effective team?
So, I mean, specifically to Whitman-Hanson, we're definitely still figuring that out. None of us have coached as a unit before. We know each other from different places and whatnot, but we're definitely still figuring it out. But I think a coaching staff is most effective when everyone has a voice and that voice is listened to. Because a lot of people like to say, and this isn't just coaching, it's teams, it's groups, any organization. If you have, everyone gets a say, but then the leader does what they just wanted to do anyways, you're wasting everyone's time, and they feel undervalued, they feel like they're not a part of what we're doing. We brought in a lot of guys with a lot of extensive football experience at levels higher than college, higher than high school, guys who have been head coaches and coordinators elsewhere, guys who have been in Whitman-Hanson for a number of years, and we want to take all those ideas and bring them together. I said in my interview with Whitman-Hanson, I've said repeatedly, if I had the magic offensive and defensive answers, I'd be making millions of dollars somewhere, because I got this system that works against everything. I don't have that. I have the ability to listen and understand and learn and grow to put our kids in the best position available, and that's going to come from true collaboration. And I think collaboration has to be meaningful and it has to be efficient. You can't keep a staff together for 4 hours after practice trying to stop this one play.
No, it doesn't work that way.
No, you got to get it out there. You got to talk, communicate, create a plan, and then be able to communicate that plan to your team. You have to be united on the field, and if you want to duke it out, you do it in the coach's office. But we got to all be on the same page. We got to be able to communicate effectively and get those kids playing kind of like what I said with Joe, with confidence, right? With the ability, like, hey, if we're wrong together. Like, we're going to go do it, and something good might still happen. But I really think in working as a unit, just like you would on the field, right? It's 11 guys doing different jobs. Coaching staff-wise, it's got to be all of us doing something so we can make it happen together.
Full team effort.
Yep.
Not a one-person job.
No, it is not. No, it is not.
So have you already started the process of getting all the coaches together and mapping out a plan, so to speak?
Yes. So we finalized our staff a couple weeks ago, but the people we had in place were all at our intro meeting with the team, so the kids got to meet all of us at once. It wasn't just me. And then we had a coaches meeting in July to kind of outline no football stuff, just like values and goals and kind of styles, like kind of do that, like let's get out ahead of those things. Like I know I have some things that I think of as like pet peeves, like when I see coaches do X, Y, or Z, I'm like, I'm not nuts about that.
Yep.
So I wanted to be, open and upfront about that. And same thing, like what do you not like from a head coach? What do you not like from a fellow assistant? So we can kind of get ahead of any disagreements. But really just talking about what we want practice to look like, what we want the field to be like. We want to have music. We want to be upbeat. We want to be flying around and moving and nonstop action. Kids are all moving at the same time. No one's just standing and watching. And getting on the same page there. And then this week I met with Coach Grimmett, who's our defensive coordinator. threw it all up on the board and got our defense all set. Next week I'm doing one-on-one meetings with guys to kind of help them walk through what they're looking to do with their positions, and then also get some feedback from them on what they want to see whole team-wise, questions, anything like that. And then we're all going to get breakfast the week of the first breakfast.
Nice.
Just go out and not talk football, just
Eat.
eat and be friends.
Food.
Yeah.
Eat and be yourselves.
Exactly. And just spending time together, texting and video calls and getting together as much as we can to kind of develop that communication and trust. But it's started for sure, and our guys are all in, which is awesome.
Truly inspiring, because I think you've just recruited me. I want to play.
Come on over. We'd love to have you.
Oh yeah, Coach. I believe you said you wanted to give a shout out to an athletic director.
Yeah,
I do want to give
definitely.
a shout out to Bob Rogers. He's the AD at Whitman Hanson. He has been such a huge help for me throughout this whole process and getting my feet underneath myself and getting my school email set up and my keys and access to the weight room and alarm codes and all those little things that he's been a go-to guy for that, and he's provided some awesome instruction for our kids in terms of leadership development. He runs a captain's council where he helps train kids who are either captains or want to become captains and like what leadership really looks like. It's not just saying like, here's a sticker, go lead the team. This is what we want you to do. This is what you can do. This is the supports you have. And I've been able to attend a couple of those, and they've been hugely helpful. But really, he says all the time, I'm only a phone call away. Call me anytime. And he actually means it. He's in Hawaii right now with his
Wow.
with his basketball team. They're doing some team building stuff, and I've texted him a couple times, and he's immediate. Unless he's on the plane, he's immediate, which is what an awesome way to walk into a head coaching job, to have someone who's that helpful and supportive. So couldn't be more thankful to work for him. He's been I wouldn't be able to navigate all this stuff without him for sure.
That's awesome.
You said they went to Hawaii for team building exercises?
Yeah,
That's crazy.
Yeah, they did. They fundraised like wild. The basketball team, Women Hands in basketball, has been hugely successful, both on the court but also off the court, with some awesome, outstanding kids. A lot of them play football as well, and he said he takes them on a trip. I mean, he doesn't pay for it. Like, they fundraise for it, and they go to Hawaii and they do a lot of hiking and some reading and some like diving into Hawaiian culture and really just
Fabulous.
stepping away from all the nonsense of all this stuff and developing as a team. What a cool experience for those kids, like, to be able to go to do that going into their junior, senior year of high school. And I mean, great vacation too, but
Yeah, absolutely.
totally meaningful. And I think they get a lot of it come the season. They're on like a 37-game win streak or something, so must be doing something right.
Hawaii, of all places.
I know.
Yikes.
Yeah, I can't imagine the morale boost they get just from being in Hawaii with their coach. That has to be awesome with their whole team too. Like, they went on a full family vacation with their team.
For real, yeah.
That's
And
really
the
cool.
incentive to fundraise and the incentive to dedicate yourself to a sport that you already love is such an awesome thing for those kids. I'm very jealous of my players. Who are there right now.
You'll get there. What an education, though. I believe any type of traveling for anybody is huge, especially just learning about a different culture, even though it's a state. I mean, there's so many, my cousins are over there, you know?
Yeah.
I mean, if you're listening out there, the Whitman Hanson, girls,
Boys basketball,
boys
yeah.
basketball team is out there.
Keep an eye
so-
out. They're all wearing Hawaiian
Absolutely.
shirts, so they'll stick out like tourists.
Oh, wow.
I can just picture them with coconuts right now.
I was just going to say something similar.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
All right, anything else?
Not off the top of my head.
Do you have any players or any coaches that you'd like to shout out before the show ends, besides the athletic director, you'd say?
Definitely give a shout out. I've already given a little love to my wife and my daughter, but definitely want to give them a shout out. I know they're listening. And then our captain, Will Stafford, they finished their spring season in first week of May or late April. New coach comes in, hiring process. He was actually on the hiring committee, and I was just so impressed with like the way he presented himself. He was so professional, so well spoken. I asked him a question, like kind of throwing it out to the group, and he was like the first one over his principal, over his AD to chime in. So based on recommendations from pretty much everyone in the community, he was named a captain at our first team meeting to kind of give us a point person. And man, he has been unbelievable, organizing
great.
workouts and sending out information and getting kids to passing league and giving rides. And he's been such a good leader for us, and I know even like the seniors are looking up to him for the example we're looking to set, and he's setting the right example. And I even had the referees at our passing league at Pembroke High School come up to me afterwards and say, like, that kid's the best leader in the whole league. Like, how he goes, your team goes. Like, when he's communicating and positive, and you can feel the energy, like, it radiates through your whole team, like sidelines and out. So to have him as a leader, and he's a heck of a player too, from what I've seen on film. So that combo was going to be awesome for us this fall. But definitely, he's been instrumental in anything we have going thus far. He's been great.
Wow, we'd love to get him in here in studio later on in the season, you
For
know,
sure.
and talk about his capabilities as a leader, as well as to the team and what he brings to the kids on JV that are looking up to him and the team. Very exciting.
Yeah, no, I would love to get him in
exciting.
here, and he's very well spoken, so he'd be a
Sure.
great interview.
Sure. Anyone else? We have about a minute left, I think, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, about a minute left. Oh, man, that flew by.
It really
Yeah.
did. No, just thank you to all of you for having me. This has been awesome. What a cool setup you have, and you knew your stuff for sure.
Oh, yeah.
I walked into all the notebooks. I was like, oh man, I know some things about
right?
me. Yeah, but no, this was awesome. I watched a few of your shows this morning. I'm gonna keep tuning in. It is an awesome thing you have here, and thanks for giving a highlight to high school sports and youth sports in our state. We have some incredible athletes and coaches around here, and for them to have a showcase is really, really, really awesome.
Absolutely.
Oh,
no,
yeah.
thank you, Coach,
Alrighty.
for sure.
Yeah. Yeah. Thanks for coming on, Coach. We wish you the best of luck this coming season. So, with that being said, we will be signing off. Catherine Conley, aka KC, with Lucy Cabral, Joseph DeVerns, Justin Ferrer, aka the Sportsmaster, with Dominic Damiano on assignment. We will see you next time on 4 Deep Sports Talk.